Hi guys, me and Len are off on another outing and here is our little vlog. Dressage again, I'm afraid. Just feeding Lenny. He has managed to, which he never ever does, not even on a normal daily basis, do this to his legs. Let me see if I can get the camera. Can you see that? Can you see that? Poo stains on his white legs. He doesn't even do that on a daily basis. Now, my plats. They're actually better. Well, I think they're better. They certainly look better from here. Look at that. I'm not actually sure if that is showing you his plats or not. I'll show you in a minute when he's finished his breakfast, because he doesn't like to be bothered when he's eating his breakfast, which is fair enough. But yeah, I took a bit of time. I did them a little bit bigger, a bit more hair, made them a bit wider, a bit looser on top, giving him a nice bit of top line. Not that he needs it, it's got quite enough top line there as it is. And I think they're actually better, so progress. Reggie's out this morning. Reggie! And last night I kept in the lovely Jack, which I haven't introduced to you all yet, but this is Jack. Say good morning, everybody. He is a fully registered Connemara. He's a 4-year-old and we've just backed him. But I will do a little vlog on him because he's absolutely gorgeous and he is going to be looking for his new home. Oh, snot kissed in the morning. Oh, he says, I want my tea. Tea? Breakfast. Anyway, we are going off to Somerset today, so quite a journey. It's about just over 2 hours to Pontispool, because as I keep saying, we just don't really have anywhere to go to down here, so it is just unaffiliated again, but it's they've got their own little qualifier and championship, so we're going to go up there today and see what we can do. Today, Jeremy, my partner, is going to go with me, thank God. So I might actually get a little bit of footage this time, if I can convince him to film for me. Okay, Jack. Jack wants his breakfast, so I'm going to go and do his breakfast in a minute and I'll tell you more in a minute. It was at this point that I realised that I was running rather late, and if I didn't get my ass in gear, I wasn't going to make it. So I sped through, cleaned my tack, because I didn't do it the night before. We got on the road, nice, clean, straight run up to Pontispool, and finally arrived. He was rather overwhelmed when I got there, and there was just so much going on. There was horses on the cross-country course and horses in the dressage and horses warming up and coming and going and people in the arena next to it, horses on the gallops. You know, there was just so much going on and it just overwhelmed him. But I got on, I just back up like a camel, and as you can see, he was rather tight and tense and just not really wanting to let go of that tension. He was a bit like sitting on a ticking time bomb, like a little rubber ball ready to go boom. But he's such a good boy in the way that he does do his very best to contain it. I don't want to suppress him so much that he doesn't let out any character, you know, like he is a horse. And as much as we need to keep safe, and obviously we don't want any acrobatics or unwanted dismounts, I am sympathetic to the fact that it's my job to find a way to help him know where to put that energy and release it without turning into a bit of a loopy-loo. So I just worked on what we do in the warm-up, which is like a figure of 8 with some transitions in between, a little bit of leg yield, just getting him to move from my leg, accept my leg a little bit. He got a little bit overwhelmed here and just wasn't really sure what to do. It was all just getting a bit much, so I just brought him back, gave him a little pat and said, "You're all right, boy, just regroup, just chill," which he did. And then I thought, right, we'll work on some canter, because sometimes canter will settle him a little bit. But you can't really see it, but he really was just boiling underneath me and bubbling away, really wanting to just express his own moves. But he kept his lid on it as well as he could. Before this footage, he did throw a few shapes that were a little unsettling. But again, you know, he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be a naughty horse. He's just being a horse. He gets a little bit lateral sometimes when he gets tight, because he just doesn't soften across his back and move through his body. So then we end up with a few lateral movements. But so this was our first test. As you can see already, a lot of tension. He'd come away from the others that were out on the warm-up, and there was horses above him and horses behind him on the cross-country course, and it was just like, he was just like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And it's hard because then he gets quite strong. But although he's strong, he's not really going anywhere. He wants to run through the bridle because he doesn't want to have your leg on. So if he doesn't accept your leg, then he just sort of falls onto the front end. So it's hard not to take a hold, and it's that constant sort of reminder to half halt release, half halt release. And I didn't want to make a big thing of it. I just thought, you know, he's in the arena, he's got to just come in, have a nice experience, and I just needed to sympathetically ride him as best as I could. So I kind of ignored the moments, just sat quiet, regrouped, and on we went again. I lost just, you know, a little bit of confidence in myself for a minute. I thought, oh my God, like, am I doing this? Am I making this, you know, this test like this? Am I making him tight and tense? But here I went to put my leg on, and he was like, yeah, let's go. And we just sort of stopped, and I gave him a little pat, and on we went. And I thought, no, you know what you're doing. You know that he's just full of it, and just sit quiet, smile, and let him just do his thing. Let him find his way. You can sort of see he's quite choppy and chippy and sort of mincing instead of coming from behind and working up to the bridle. He's behind it, a little bit unsettled. You see the tension in his mouth is a bit of a giveaway. I knew the walk was coming up here, and I was thinking, crikey, like, walking him is going to be tricky, and it was. And really, all I wanted to do all the way through the test was give him more rein and let him go a little bit longer and lower and put his nose out a bit, because then he does sort of let go of that tension as they would. But being in the test environment and having to sort of, you know, maneuver, I just couldn't give him away that amount of rein safely. So this was a welcomed break. Like, he needed this little regroup, this little, you know, have a stretch, just breathe. But even then, underneath me, you know, it was still sort of, there was a lot of energy. I knew the canter was coming up, and I was just laughing to myself, thinking this is going to go one way or the other. He knew it was coming up as well, so like I could feel him getting a little bit like bouncy underneath me. He goes very internal, Len, so you don't really see it on the outside, but you really feel it on board. So I smiled at the judges, and off we went. He wasn't too bad. But as you can see, we bounced our way around this canter work. He bounced to the left, he bounced to the right. And all the way around, I was singing the wonderful things about Tiggers. Tiggers are wonderful things. Because he was bouncy, bouncy, fun, fun, fun. He just was not wanting to go forwards. There's such tension through his neck that he just was bouncing everywhere. So I just sat quiet, kept my leg on, encouraging him with lots of releases to say, come on, you know, go forwards. I had to sit up really, really tall and just keep saying to him, this is where I want us to be. Tension back in again for the trot. Oh, and bless him there, like I certainly wasn't going to tell him off for that, because we've been doing that movement of a figure of 8 of picking up the canter, and he gave it to me. And so I just again sat quiet, and we just bounced our way around. Lots of giving the rein and just saying to him, go on, take it forwards. As you can see, he goes a little bit lateral sometimes. It's where he's just so tight across his back and doesn't move through his rib cage and across his back, doesn't soften his neck. But for how much he felt underneath me, he felt so much like that energy just wanted to explode. You know, he kept a lid on it and did as he was asked, you know. Good boy. I was really pleased with him. So I took him back up to the lorry, gave him a good wash off because it was rather hot at this point, and just took myself off for a minute to sit and look at my second test, because remembering my test is a bit of an issue sometimes. So Jeremy had Lenny for me, and I took myself off and had a look at my test. And you would have thought, with all the time, well, I say all the time, I had 15 minutes to sit and go through it. You would have thought that I wouldn't have missed out any little bits in that test. But you wait and see. I watched a few others finish their tests. So I even sat and watched them. It's a lot more, there's a lot more going on than what he's been to. Like just the whole atmosphere of people coming and going, and people out on the cross-country course. Okay, so after a bit of a longer warm-up, just to try and settle in a bit more canter work, this was our second test. Much more rideable. Still a lot of tension in there. And I still had to ride really sympathetically. But we had a little bit more rideability in that he would let me put my leg on. We had a little bit more bend. We were still rather tight. And I think I got a little bit flustered from obviously how he was in the first test. And it should have been a 15-metre loop. And I was just not quite at 15 metres. So that lost me a couple of marks. And I did the same on the next one. And then here on the circle, you're actually meant to give and retake the rein over X. And I didn't do it on either circle. So that's another couple of marks that I lost. Sack the jockey. See, here is another, what was meant to be 15-metre loop, but I only just got over the centre line. Do you know what the biggest problem there was? Is I just wasn't looking where I was going. I was concentrating too much on looking down, and I need to look up. Look up, Lucy. Again, didn't give and retake the rein. Nothing even shown. Didn't even attempt it. Danny's going to kick my butt for that. I just had to get him in front of my leg a little bit there. And now the walk, and his walk, he has been getting really good marks for his walk. His walk has been so much better. He did get good marks in this test, but just it was nowhere near what he could do. And the stretch here is correct, so I've done it between the markers, a half circle. But later on at the end, there's a stretchy trot that's actually meant to be a half circle, but from E, and I did it from the same place as I'm doing here, which again lost me another couple of marks. So onto the canter. Excuse the tractor in the background. Much better. Obviously slightly threw his head up, but he's at prelim. You know, he's learning. Still a little bit of moments of lateral. Just lack of bend, really. Lack of suppleness. But some really lovely moments where he felt so much better and just much more attentive, listening to me. Moments of going, oh, okay, I can do this. And usually I look at these videos of me riding and I think, oh my God, I can't watch them. There'll be so much that I'll pick apart about my riding that I just physically can't watch them. But I have to say that although I was a little tight in my knee, because I was at the beginning obviously sat a little bit defensive just for what might ever have come, I'm really proud of how I rode it that day. You know, I was sympathetic, I think. I sat as quiet as I could, you know, fairly still hands. Used my upper body, just did anything and everything I could, you know, lots of, you know, sort of half halts and sort of allowing him to take take my hands and just softening and doing as much as I could, but as little as I could, if that makes sense. Yeah, there's loads more I could have done, but I feel like the situation that I was in, being out in public, let's remember, guys, a few months ago I wouldn't even go out. I wouldn't even go out in public because of what other people might say or other people might judge. And then I literally get in the car, drive 2.5 hours to go and be judged. We are a bit daft, aren't we? But I'm absolutely loving being out with him. I was smiling like Cheshire Cat the whole way round. The first one I laughed the whole way round. Good boy. I was so pleased with him. Hello, we are home. The boy did good. I mean, the boy was bloody spicy and threw in a lot of moves that were not needed, but I'm chuffed with him. Chuffed to bits with him. So we got our test sheets and, well, I'll talk about them in a minute. First of all, I'm going to get this little dude, get his plats out, get him fed, and let him go and have some time out. General overhaul of the day and general outlook is that I'm really pleased with him. He had way more sass and spirit than he's probably ever had before, and did throw quite a lot of shakes, especially in the warm-up, and a few little mishaps in his first test. But and there was loads of tension in that test, and it was really tricky to ride because he was sort of feeling a bit like a time bomb. But he just made me laugh the whole way around, because I am genuinely just so pleased to be out and riding my horse, and you know, each time, you know, there is improvement, and like obviously with different judges you're going to get, you know, different marking and what have you. But turns out the second test, which I thought, God, he's like lots better in that test. We were sixth with 65.4, which I thought, oh my God, I think that was a little bit harsh. And then I realised that I had forgot to do my give and retake on both circles, and I also rode a wrong line for my trot on a loose rein. So judge says I basically lost myself 6 marks. Idiot. So I basically ballsed up there. So I lost us around 6 marks, which would have put us right at the much higher end. But you know what? It's okay, because I'm just really proud of the positives, which is that I almost remembered 2 tests. Well, I did remember. I didn't go wrong. I just didn't. Well, I did go wrong because I didn't show the give and retake, and my trot line was just not accurate. But all in all, like remembering 2 tests, being there, going to a different venue, travelling for 2.5 hours to get there, in the heat, him being extremely spicy, you know, totally different horse to what he's ever been, but in a happy way, not in a angry sort of stressy way. He was just like excited to be there. But I was just bloody delighted, to be honest with you. As I keep saying, there's always that like thing in us that, eating plastic lens. You know, worrying about going out in public, and not being very good, or people thinking you're a crap rider or what have you. And then we literally travelled 2.5 hours to be judged on our riding. So anything over 63% today is a qualifying score for Pontispool's own unaffiliated championships in September. So because he got 63 and 65, which could have technically been nearly 70% if I wasn't an absolute idiot, he has qualified both prelims. So that is in September. So we'll go and do that, because it'll be another really good outing, and to take him back in that atmosphere again, and hopefully we'll get somewhere between now and then. And in between, we've got a few other outings that do not include dressage. I did look at the ground today up at Pontispool, because I had hoped to go up there and do some cross country, but people were coming back from being out on course and saying, just don't bother, it's so hard. Up there is completely different to what it's like down here. The grass is just scorched. There is no grass. So I spoke to a couple of the eventers that were coming back from the course. They've just sort of gone out to school and have come back saying we're not going to bother because it's just not worth risking the horses. You know, it was solid. So unless we get some rain and things change, we might have to abandon that idea for a minute. But yeah, no, it's a great venue. It was run really well. So anyway, guys, I was really, really pleased with him. I'm pleased with myself because, I mean, it's hard for me to put my videos up on like YouTube because, you know, you're always going to get scrutinised and ridiculed by someone, usually somebody that's doing less than you. But he was really, really explosive under me, you know, and it was really tricky to ride him sympathetically. And at the end of the day, I was there because to get out and to let him see something like that, because he's never been in that sort of atmosphere. And he is a bit of a tight, intense horse, or he used to be, like, really bad, but he's got loads better. So I think the more he does, the better he obviously will get. And I think he coped really well. And then, you know, obviously it's a long drive back. He's just having a big, wet, sloppy feed. And he's going to go out in the field with his mates and just chill for a few days until our next venture. So, all in all, I've had a great day. I could not be happier to be out on my horse. Somebody said to me the other day, oh, your videos don't get many views. I don't care. That's not what it's about. It's giving me confidence to put myself out there. And it's giving me a journey to follow of me and Len. And to look back on. And if anybody else wants to follow that and join in, anybody that's been where I was at the point where they just didn't want to go out because of what, you know, if people don't want to follow, that's absolutely fine. Like, I never expected even one person to actually subscribe or follow. So 15 for me is 15, I don't know, 14 or 15 is bloody lovely. And they seem to be people that have been where I've been and sort of held themselves back and not wanted to go out because of other people or looking stupid but you know what? When you're willing to look a bit silly and put yourself out there, that's when you start seeing results at things, because if you don't try, and most people look a bit silly the first time they try something. If you don't try, then you'll never get anywhere. So I really enjoy doing it. If you want to follow us and see that what you can achieve if you really do, you know, put those fears aside and move forwards with a better mindset, and a trainer, two trainers that really, really do work with you and give you the tools that you need and that confidence for you and your horse, then give us a follow. But anyway, guys, sorry boy, this boy needs to go out in his field and have some chill time because, well, he blooming well deserves it.